Hey, this is
Sorry. Hey, this is Vu, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to deal with AWPers by looking at this game here from Bomo, who submitted to Elo Hell asking nothing about dealing with AWPers, but I make the rules, so let's take a look. Roll the ad. First, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Dmarket. Dmarket is a skin trading platform you can use to buy, sell, or exchange your items instantly. Dmarket has a variety of skins from multiple different games to choose from, not just CSGO, and has fantastic prices for their skins, coming in cheaper than the Steam community market on lots of items. Dmarket also accepts a variety of payment methods, including cryptos, Skrill, and web money, as well as withdrawal through PayPal. Using Dmarket, you can filter through items that are in your price range, and you can even send out target bids for items similar to the ones you're looking at to try to find a match. Try it out today at the link in the description. Dmarket. So Bomo is Supreme/Global in Faceit 3, which is a bit underranked, but regardless, what's interesting here is how he fails to deal with the AWPers on the enemy team very consistently in this game, and I want to go over those failings and then show you what you can do better. So the play here towards Banana isn't really great to deal with AWPers because there's ways AWPers could have actually got a kill on him there, but you can't just go full passive just because an AWPer is on the enemy team. You still do need to take risks, and I was fine with that risk in general. Following that, he's going to jiggle CT here, which I'll touch on later. You really can't be doing. A good AWPer is just going to kill you. And then he's going to take a cardinal sin of dealing with AWPers and try to outright duel an AWPer. Now, the flash to peek out and try and get a kill, that makes some sense. It's not a bad play. However, continuing to fight afterwards is win stupid prizes levels because you're simply going to die the vast majority of the time when you make this type of play. Luckily for him, the AWPer wasn't peeking out as aggressively as he could have, probably thinking that it would be ridiculous for him to be fighting solo, and there was probably a second player there. So he ends up surviving only to walk his way over to Arch right where a different teammate had died, right into an AWPer, and get himself killed. You either need to be going there with utility or with teammates. You can't just play against an AWPer as if he's going to miss a shot, otherwise you're going to get punished very often. Now, an extremely important thing to understand when you're trying to deal with AWPers is you want to be able to understand the timing that AWPer has and when the repeak is going to be coming in. A lot of people are too scared, a lot of people aren't just paying attention to this type of thing, and you really need to be paying attention to when that AWP is going to be able to repeak. Oh my god, this is proof AWPs are totally overpowered, right? Wrong. If we look at what just happened here, 3 players peeked one by one into an angle, allowing their CT AWPer to get an easy 3K. Now, you can peek into an angle after an AWPer shoots your teammate. You just need to make sure you're peeking into the angle as the AWPer is on cooldown. And you can do that with your own AWP by posting up and allowing that AWP to repeak into you, and you catch him off guard, not expecting an AWPer there, and you can definitely win that engagement. And you can do it with a rifle. Typically with a rifle, you would either get off axis of the angle to try and catch him off guard, or you would use that downtime to strafe past the angle. One of the worst things you can do is be scared of an AWPer when he kills your teammate. You have a split second to actually utilize the fact that the AWP has a bit of downtime, and in that downtime he's almost certainly going to be going behind cover and then re-peeking. Now, I mentioned understanding how long the cooldown of the AWP is and trying to make sure that you can get wide when they do take a shot, and that's a great example right here of how to do that. So the first player in is going to get killed by the AWPer, the second player is going to continue strafing wide, and Bomo here is just going to sit still in the exact angle and allow the AWPer to peek directly back out on him. At the end of the day, the guy that over peeked and swung out managed to get the kill on that AWPer. No thanks really to Bomo himself, who just sat right where the AWPer was going to repeak and got himself killed. What will often happen in these exact scenarios here is that AWPer is going to repeak out, see nobody on that angle, and know intuitively that someone probably crossed pool and is going to try to push close on him very fast. And in knowing that, he's going to go a bit wide a lot of the time to try to catch that player jumping up pool. So if you delay an extra half second, force that AWPer to question what's going on, he may strafe a bit wider, and then you peek out on him and get the kill. This is an advanced concept, but something that can be kept in mind to absolutely destroy some people. Some people? Which people? Just some of them, you know, some people. Whoever. Now, if we move on from what not to do, we can take a look at the 3 steps you want to take in order to deal with the vast majority of AWPers if you do them correctly. And they are: know where they want to play so you can know how to counter it, use utility to create counterplay depending on the angle, and get the kill using a few different tactics that will make it easier for you to kill them and harder for them to kill you. The first one is knowing their angles, and this is pretty basic, but it's a building block for the other two. Most good AWPer angles are going to be far from a corner. They're going to be easy to fall back from. It's going to have a clear fallback path, and there's only going to be one place you can be coming from. And usually these chain together very effectively. Some of the more aggressive ones might be a little bit less advantageous, and that's what is part of what makes them good. Another example would be up on catwalk. Now, this is a little bit tougher because it's very close range. However, the point of this one is it's going to catch you off guard, hoping that your spacing isn't on point so that they can get away easily. Now, the most obvious initial goal is to use utility to create some counterplay by you either flash them off the angle so an op can post, or that riflers can cover ground. That would be very obvious for a spot like opping mid here, where you can flash this opper off of the angle, and then you have 2 clear potential paths to deal with that. You either have an opper post up so that player, if he does re-peek, will get punished, and you know, just the threat of that possibility is going to prevent him from re-peeking a lot of the time. Or you can use that flash to cover some ground with rifles to get out close so that if that opper re-peeks, he's going to get traded or is going to have at least a very tough time hitting the initial shot. You can also use Lurk Smokes. Now, Lurk Smokes are almost by definition extremely good against AWPers because what you're doing is you're making their common and effective angle less common because you're taking away one of the strengths of the angle. So the strength of an angle like flat here is that you really only have one place they can be coming from. Again, long range, all of that sort of thing. However, if you throw a bit of a Lurk Smoke here towards long corner, then all of a sudden you can easily jump into pit, and that opper now has multiple different angles they have to be worried about. Of course, it's in the same direction. However, you could be peeking from the corner once that smoke is dissipated. From pit, you could flash and peek out in front of it as well. This is the type of thing Lurk Smokes are great for, and there's plenty of different positions where Lurk Smokes can be very effective as they allow you to cover some ground to get up close and prevent the opper from being confident you're coming from the exact correct angle. Now, the other way to use utility to create counterplay is to exec the other bomb site and make them retake. Genius, right? Now, obviously, dealing with AWPers after doing these things isn't trivial either. You do need to be proactive in making sure that an AWPer, even when he's not in the best possible beginning position, doesn't get things done either. Now, it's going to make it a lot harder if you use that utility correctly, put him in more uncomfortable positions, but what you want to be doing initially is keeping good spacing while pushing up and making sure you're generally pushing up with your team. And by keeping good spacing, the main thing you want to make sure you're doing is that you're not allowing that player to actually have a safe downtime by being close enough together that you can trade before he gets back scoped. And usually a good rule of thumb is to say stay about 5 or 6 feet apart, and that means that as long as you are able to hit a shot in a reasonable period of time, you should very easily be able to deal with an AWPer before he can get away or before he can actually reload and shoot back at you again. And the thing you want to keep in mind when this is going on is don't play scared. Oftentimes what happens is an AWPer is going to take a shot, get a kill, and the second player is going to hesitate. The main thing you need to do when you're dealing with an AWPer once they've taken a shot is to send it. You really need to swing that corner immediately to either kill the AWPer while he's reloading, or you need to create some space and get into a tough to deal with angle in that downtime. For example, this AWPer shoots at you from window and kills your teammate. You run past and you get over on the far wall. That will make the AWPer's angle from window significantly less effective, and it'll make it easier for your team, if not just you, to deal with that AWPer in the long term. Players that play scared and hesitate after that AWPer gets an initial kill are usually players that are making making a mistake. Now, sometimes you're not going to be able to trade. Sometimes his position is going to be so good that you don't want to take that risk. That's fine. Just don't hesitate and then go. That's going to cause some problems. And the final thing you can do, especially when you know an AWPer is going to re-peek directly out looking at you, is to get off axis. I mentioned this earlier, and getting off axis simply means that you're trying to create an angle that the AWPer isn't peeking that will either make it very tough for him to hit the shot, or it'll make it very tough for him to see you potentially. A good example could be mid here on Dust 2 as well, or something like Connector on Mirage. What happens is the AWP is going to take a shot, either hit the shot or not, and usually this is most relevant when they miss the shot. What happens is they're going to go for a repeat, and you can either get off axis to the right or off axis to the left. This works very well in more confined spaces, however this works very well in this spot as well, where the AWPer may re-peek expecting you to be in the exact same angle, and instead you are wide out to the right. In this case, you are off axis wide, in which case you're going to be shooting at that AWPer before he even realizes, because he's looking to re-peek a separate angle. If you're off axis narrow, usually what you're hoping is that you're close enough to the angle that you'll see that AWPer as he peeks the initial angle, but he won't see you, usually because, you know, he's too close to the corner and you can see his shoulder. Especially if he's left eye peeking, it's going to make it even easier. This is an off-axis peek, and it works really well against rifles as well, but this is really a key concept when dealing with AWPers specifically, because if you mess up, they're just going to shoot you once and you'll be dead. All right, we can drop in quickly here and see what this looks like in a professional game. So here we've got the grand finals of ESL Pro League, very high level of gameplay in this game, and we've got Katie in here, and he's going to spot out an AWP, and you're going to see he's going to do something you won't see too often in lower levels of play. He's going to use his knife, which is a very good weapon to deal with AWPers if you can get in close range. Now, to show you an actually effective way of dealing with AWPers, we'll show you Gambit versus Heroic round 14. And Shiro, a fantastic AWPer in his own right. He's 11-1 in this game, so he's doing quite well. And Heroic are going to hit his bomb site here. Avoiding the bomb site hasn't been working for him. But to begin the round, he's in that standard angle at the very start. Then he's going to try and help to retake Banana, but they will back up with this back site smoke. And this is a smoke AWPers have to be worried about, because not only is it a bit of a Lurk Smoke if you're at back site, but also they can isolate the CT AWPer with that smoke with some good utility. So he moves back into the site here. He's going to use some utility just to delay Heroic if he can, and eventually they're going to go for a hit into the bomb site, and you're going to notice that pretty much every angle in the bomb site is mollied. He gets blinded at times, he's dodging flashes, and he's really put in an awful situation to get any level of success. He even has to stand in the molly for some period of time to even get one kill. And that's exactly what you want to be doing with AWPers. Put him in a spot where if he misses a shot, he's going to die without getting a single kill. And if he lands a shot, you're going to trade immediately. You know, I'm going to be honest, there's definitely a reason people think the AWP can be a bit overpowered. And while going through rounds to try and get a round for this video, I've definitely seen a few examples of that where, you know, the opponents will do a perfect job of dealing with the AWPer to their best ability. They'll have an AWP posted on the repeat, they'll use flashes effectively, and the AWP will still get a kill or more than one kill at times. But here's another round where that kind of happens, but they just do such a good job. So Nafty's going to jiggle, draw the shot out of Cadian, but they line up for the collateral. On the other side, though, Hobbit is in such a good position. He creates two angles Cadian has to be worried about. Cadian could only focus on one, and he just gets killed in the back. So I can definitely see, you know, Cadian really shouldn't be getting a double there. He just got kind of lucky with the collateral. They even drew out the first shot, but he was in a good position to begin with, and he still managed to get himself some kills. Sometimes you can do your best and they're still going to land the shot regardless. That's the way the game works. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.